Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for just barely April 5th, 2020, with your host, Beastmaker2448 and Ramp at Epsilon.
Hi.
It's almost the 6th by like 3 minutes.
No, it's almost the 6 by like an hour and 3 minutes.
Time zones.
Gotta love them.
I found out today because I was checking over coronavirus cases in the state. I'm glad I'm not in college at the moment. I would be kind of freaking out. There's a good number of cases in the county that my college is in. I would be extremely concerned, and I would be very tempted to be going back home for a while.
I believe you already would have. Because I'm wanting to say a lot of that they were trying to evacuate early.
Yeah, I don't remember when the college swapped over to online courses, but I would have...
It would have been around that same time they would have made everyone kind of just go.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. But anywho, we're talking Ghosts. Proper Ghosts, the series this week, and it's 37 through 40, and I'll be honest, I'm only at like 37 through 39, because I feel like I haven't really watched 40, but I did.
Please don't leave me alone.
So if 40 sounds not as extravagant in detail, that would be why. Because I was out by the time that I was watching it. Oh god, so hard. So hard on this stupid plot that I just didn't like. But anyway, any thoughts going into our not June batch? Because just remember that I left that there. I think it should be the July batch.
No, I don't have any.
Is it July batch?
I did happen to forget that we stopped in the middle of a two-parter.
Yeah, we kind of did.
The start of it, I was like, oh, wait, why are we... oh, right, we stopped in the middle of a two-parter. Never mind.
I had
That's
to remember...
why.
I had to remember not Koyomi's name for this episode, and I was like, shit, what is her name? Fuck. I was 3 seconds away from calling her just Koyomi in the notes. Just being like, it's Koyomi. I don't remember her actual name.
I mean, you wouldn't have been wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna kick things off with the second half of that two-parter we left off on the Go Watch a Movie with episode 37, Learn All the Ways. We catch up with Makoto as he tracks down Makoto, and they go Deep Spectre and Regular Spectre respectively, and they proceed to fight. And they're more or less fighting for the rest of the episode practically, so that's their entire plot, is just them fighting.
Also, besides the fact that this is literally being a strain on Makoto, I don't quite grasp the concept of why this is a thing.
Neither do I. And I
would probably far more enjoy this if it was a case of it was the Deep Spectre icon doing this.
But it's not.
And I know it's not, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, I could get it, because the Deep Spectre icon's supposed to be this forbidden icon, so to say. So, I would expect at some point for it to put him through the ringer like this is doing. Except this is not why.
Yeah. This...
It's like,
Anywho.
Dang it, Ghost. You've got a good concept that you could run with, and you still screw it up.
Yeah. Anyway, we check in with Alan, who's pooped, so he's taking a nap now.
after not being able to get his takoyaki. Because I do believe that was what happened at the very end of the last one with him. Plus, did Discord just like super break?
God damn it. Thanks, Discord. First time tonight! Hell yeah. Anyway, as I was trying to say, Hanami is at her limit as well, and Sanzo has to chime in and being like, you fucked up, Takaru, even though you were technically only helping one person in this situation, since you're not helping Alan. But you're still at fault, I guess.
But it's your fault for both of them. If I'm not mistaken, it was because Takaru kind of stood up for Alan, saying he can pull through anything kind of deal.
Yeah.
And this is Sanzo being like, ha, you were wrong.
Is that really his fault?
I don't feel like it's so much his fault as it's more of a fact that Sanzo's like, yeah, look, you put your faith in him and see how far that got you? He's kind of on his face over there, failing miserably.
Yeah. Anyway, he still believes in the both of them, and this is when Akari and Inari show up, back from the audition, and she succeeded, and she's happy about it, and a part of me goes, wasn't this supposed to be an undercover job to figure out what the fuck's going on with the bracelets?
Yep.
Apparently someone forgot that was the plot, and that's why Akari joined. Yep. So this, whatever. So she's excited.
I love how last episode we're setting up for Akari to be the undercover agent, and then this episode they immediately are like, wait, we did that?
Wait, that was the point? That was what we were setting up? Oops, I guess that's not what we're setting up. We're setting up something completely different.
Like, did we have split writers for this arc? Is that what happened here? Because that's what it feels like.
We didn't have split directors. Actually, we have Koichi Sakamoto on for another episode after this. Nope, it's Keiichi Hasegawa for both episodes.
Then what the heck? What the literal heck? How do you forget your own plot points?
I don't know. Anyway, Hanami proceeds to shout at Akari because it's like, this idol, being an idol is not easy, and man, I'm mad, and just runs off. And then Takaru goes after her, and they get to the gate, and he more or less gives her a pep talk to like get her to calm down and win her over. Because Akari will take this seriously in a montage that we get to in a bit. Meanwhile, Makoto manages to beat up Mako too, but it only sends him to respawn because he then just pops back up and they're back to fighting. So
actually, is it actually that, or do we actually see Mako 3?
We find out later that it's technically Mako 3. And I am not keeping track of this because I'm not doing this bit for the rest of the season.
I just felt like at this point that was the perfect time to mention something like that.
I was about to say, I did it later in the notes by saying Mako 5, but then also, like, I'm not doing this. So yeah, Makoto's fighting another twin. So they're fighting some more. Back over to Akari and Alan as they now get training montages with Akari being trained by Hanami in the dance moves, and apparently singing because she sings better later in the episode than she did in the previous episode, so whatever.
Unless she intentionally was singing bad earlier, at which point I'm like, why?
Yeah, why? And Alan's training with the suited monsters, people, things that
I
are related to Sanzo.
Yeah, that I don't quite understand.
They're all a part of Journey to the Rest, so technically one of them is Son Goku. But I don't know. They're just things that exist that are related to Sanzo that I think we barely see. So yeah,
Sounds
he's now
about
training
right.
with them for. He's training with them for a team attack move because that's what all this has been about, I guess. Back over to Makoto. He finally beats Mako 3 and passes out, and Kanon finds him, and I guess just drags him back to the temple. Because I don't think we see the other monks this week, so I guess she just did it by herself. I don't know. One minute he's there, and the other minute he's like back at the temple being treated.
Yeah, I don't know.
We get over to Adele, who is told by the Genmisers, "Fuse with us, become the ultimate Genmiser for ultimate power." Because apparently, even though they're down several Genmisers at this point, there's still enough power between them to be main villain of the series, I guess. I think they're the main villain of the series at this point.
Like, I kind of hope so at this point because this is dragging on far too long.
Yeah.
And it would kind of suck to have a one-shot final villain.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's Sage, then I'd be fine with it.
Nope. I know that's not the case.
Then yeah, they need to just be final villain.
Yeah. Back over to Akairi. She's off performing with the rest of the idol group, and she does really well, which pisses off Igor, who's invisible in the crowd. He's just like, "Why are you performing good? Why? You were supposed to be garbage. No." But in the middle of performance, she sprains her ankle, which means Hanami has to step in.
Yeah, she
And,
quote-unquote sprains her ankle.
Yeah. But the crowd even chants for her thanks to Inari getting the crowd started because, let's be honest, if you start a chant in a crowd, the crowd just hops along because it's like, fuck it, let's go.
I mean, group mentality.
Yeah. Back over to Alan. He learned his fancy team attack move from the gang, and he gets his lunch as a reward and teleported away. And he ends up in just a forest somewhere where Javel is. Now they fight.
I also love the fact that when he gets teleported back to that forest, he loses his lunch.
He ate it on the way. It was a long trip. He was hungry, and he just ate it along the way. I assume. I don't know.
It's the little incontinuities that it's just like, whoops.
Yeah.
Because you can't get mad at it. It's just a, oops, that happened.
Yep. So we see Hanami perform with the group. They do well. Takaru glows purple this time because he learned a thing, I guess, or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know what the glowing means.
I think the different colors is supposed to represent something, but I have no idea what. And I bet the show never goes into it.
The different colors, I think, are technically the different finishers that Mugen has. And I guess they're that word. So I guess Takaru's connected to somebody who embodied that word. I guess. I don't know.
I guess then. It'd be nice if the show, went into some of this stuff. Because I feel like Ghost is one of those that has some really neat minor details, but because the show doesn't even remotely address them, they go wasted.
Yeah. So Takaru glows. Sanzo gives a thumbs up because, hey, Takaru, you did good work. After doing kind of nothing, Akari kind of pulled the rest of the work on this one.
Yeah.
I got so yay, and you accomplished nothing for Alan. He did all that on himself. So
It's
bravo.
one of those way to do good, Takaru, by doing nothing at all.
Yeah. We found out that Akari's faked the ankle sprain to more or less get Hanami back on stage. And this, I believe, is when Igor shows up to complain, and then Akari slaps the shit out of him. Like, damn.
Again.
Well, this is, like, stronger than the last 2 times, I swear.
I love the fact that we get number 3 right here, and I believe, isn't it the next episode we get number 4? But it's not from Akari?
No. That's the episode after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the episode after.
I knew it was like really quick in succession, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
No one likes it.
This slap actually, this slap drops him to the floor, which is why I say she really went in on this one. She flattened his ass.
It's that, or if it's just that every time that's happened to him, it's kind of hurting his pride more and more.
Probably, to be honest. So yeah, after that, Takuru's like, ah shit, a Genmaiser's coming, because I can feel it. So I'm gonna go fight it outside, and hope nobody comes outside.
And I didn't think nothing about it, but the same way that Takaru can feel when a Genmaiser's coming is the same way that Makoto was doing before a Mako clone came.
Yeah.
I feel like they wanted to do something tying them together and just didn't have the time.
Probably. So yeah, Takaru goes Mugen. He fights the Genmaiser. One good shot from the shotgun rifle weapon with the Mugen finisher puts it to bed. So that's another Genmaiser down. Apparently, like it fucking matters, because apparently, even outnumbered, they are still stronger than everything. So we cut over to Alan. He goes Sanzo, and he gets a repaint of Makoto's slap gun, because that's his power up for the rest of the season. Literally.
Well, that and his fancy 4-person move.
Yeah, his fancy 4-person finisher that he drops on Javel, and he's defeated and runs off. Because Alan's grown as a character, because he's working with things in an icon that only exist in Sanzo, to be honest. So, because no other icon has goons, I guess, that it can spawn.
True.
Then we find out that the issue with Hanami's bracelet is just fixed off screen. So that's done. But Makoto's still out of it. So not everything's up on this episode. And then while it happens next episode, it might as well just say it here. Adele fuses with the rest of the Genmeisers, and he becomes the perfect Genmeiser, because that's actually what he's called.
Yeah, and actually, doesn't that happen at the beginning of the next episode?
More or less. After we deal with the side plot of Inari and Javel, that should feel like backstory for Inari, but we don't get any.
I feel like it's more because it's a case of they wanted to set up a potential for Javel to kind of be redeemed. Even though he really wasn't a bad enough villain to really merit a redemption.
No, he's a jobber. Literally.
Yeah.
His job is to literally job out and make everyone look good on their form debuts.
It's like, I see what they wanted to try to do at the end. They wanted to try to throw him a bone, but why? And it wasn't really for padding, because I know we're gonna kind of hit all the points, so I'm not going into it. But the next episode, part of the reason why I thought that the next Igor slap was the next episode was because I felt like it was rushed a little too much.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Like, if we didn't have that side plot, it might have been better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's just wasted time that we kind of lost the main plot, too.
Yeah. So, we pick up at episode 38 now. Resurrection, Hero's Soul. Javel's off rampaging in the forest because he's in a mood.
He's mad that everyone beats him.
Yes, even though it's his job to be a jobber. But anyway, we go back over to the temple where Alan is on bed rest for the day because, training for 2 episodes straight is kind of hard on him. But
especially when he's not used to a human body.
Yeah, fighting your clone is apparently not enough to make Makoto go to bed. So he gets out of bed and he just leaves, and no one stops him. And no one even questions, like, why were you passed out in the parking garage?
I mean, to be fair, he didn't really give anyone a chance to ask it either.
Yeah. Anyway, the rest of the gang's downstairs discussing Mugen, which feels like now we call it Mugen. Even though we've had this icon for several dozen episodes now. And now we're calling it Mugen?
Yep.
Excuse me?
The icon even says Mugen, but we're not going to call it Mugen until now?
Why are we discussing things about this icon, like, way too goddamn late? And even he goes on to say, it's the only thing that can stop the Genmisers. Oh, you mean the thing that has beat 5 Genmisers at this point? 4 or 5?
You don't say.
I'm sorry. What else has killed Genmisers at this point? Alright, only Mugen. I don't think even Deep Spectre has killed one.
No, because Deep Spectre's debut just sent it back to Respawn.
Okay.
So, yeah. Mugen is literally the only thing that has actually blew up a Ganmiser.
So he more or less says the heroic icons aren't needed anymore, but Takaru disagrees because I don't know why.
Honestly, I get the whole conflict here and the road to the resolution, but at the same time I also feel like, did we not have anything else to do?
Yeah.
This is for the main plot of this episode, this is such a side plot that isn't needed.
Yeah. But before we get too much into Takaru's reasons, which are none, I guess, besides he needs them.
He feels like he needs them anyhow.
Yeah. The gang gets called away to the forest where Jabel is rampaging, and Takaru more or less takes him down in quick fashion, and then he immediately curls up in a ball and pouts. Because he is mad about his jobber status. And he doesn't like he's a jobber.
I mean, at least he's a named jobber.
Yeah, that's more that's more than what will happen to 2 people next week. or in the next 2 episodes. Anyway, Inari more or less says, I'll take care of this, because the Genmisers have showed up and Takaru has to go deal with them. So on the way, we cut back over to Arya, who asks Not Sage what his plans are, and he's vague as fuck as usual. Because no matter which form he's in, it's always fucking vague and bullshit. So,
Yep.
glad to see that's consistent across both characters. And then we cut over to Makoto, who's now fighting Mako 4. So he's fighting himself some more.
I thought you weren't going to keep up with that.
I know, but then I realized, oh shit, I was right on being Mako 5, so I'll stop at Mako 5, because I'm not keeping track after Mako 5. Especially when one of those Makos becomes a regular character soon.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know where this side plot goes.
I thought I did, and then when you said that, it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, we come back over to Takaru, who's now going to have to fight Adele and the Genmisers in their Adele clone suit forms, with Takaru ungrateful and summoning the entire heroic icons. And then they all lose, because apparently, even though all of the icons are supposed to counter the Genmisers, they are not strong enough to counter their exact counterparts in the Genmisers, even with assistance from other heroic icons. So what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So they're all jobbed out clean. And then Adele shows off his stupid, dumb, flower, perfect Genmiser form. God, I don't like this suit. It looks so dumb. And I don't know how this relates to the Genmisers at all at this point. How do you feel about it?
I feel like it looks stupid. But
Okay.
at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what else they could really do to fix it.
Maybe not have the not bloomed form helmet, because that just looks bad. Just have the one with the head in the bloomed flower. Don't have the other one. I don't even know why you have the other one.
Reasons.
Yeah, so at this point, he starts attacking in this form, and Takaru has to go Mugen and does a rider kick to ward him off, and Adele just takes it and just fucks off because he's done for the episode. Literally, he's done for the episode. He doesn't even show back up or try again. Nope, done. So this makes Takaru sad because the heroic icons are not strong enough to fight with him anymore. And then we cut away to Makoto getting into a draw with Mako 4, and he's off, and the Mako 4 disappears. So Makoto's back to just nothing. And then we see that Adele apparently has dozens of Makoto clones for some reason, from somewhere, that I think gets explained in the Spectre V cinema. Although I think the Spectre V cinema is bad, so I've kind of ignored it.
Finding that out.
Yeah. And this is where I have in the notes about Mako 5 and going, I'm not keeping track of this. Fuck this. Anyway, we cut over to Inari, who more or less pep talks Javel into his face turn that he will get to later, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like they're setting this up and then it won't go anywhere.
I don't remember where Jabel goes after this, to be honest.
Like I said, I feel like they were setting this up and it just isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. It feels like those two Genma all over again.
Yep.
So we come over to Adele, who has Gyro walk him and go, I want to fight. You don't need to fight. I want to fight. And Adele's like, fine, go fight. So Gyro's going to go fight Takaru and beat him in Mugen because Gyro believes that he can actually beat Mugen.
And he believes that he can actually force Takaru to use the form.
Which he will soon be proven wrong.
He apparently hasn't ever met Takaru because when Takaru doesn't want to do something, he's not doing it.
Yeah. But then we cut over to Takaru, who's in the basement talking to the heroic icons, who more or less just tell him, "Look, our job's done. You got Mugen now. You're way stronger than us. It's fine. Don't worry about it." And he's like, "No, but I want you to fight with me." But then Gyro is, I guess, shown up somewhere, and Urison tells him where he is, so he has to go fight Gyro real quick. But he wants to fight Takaru and Mugen, but Takaru refuses and just goes to Ore. Not even boost. Not even the boost, just regular Ore. Because I don't know, Takaru's got to prove a point. So he tries to fight Gyro and Ore, gets his ass handed to him over and over, tries to use heroic icons. They deny him access because this feels like the right time to do something like that, apparently. I don't know what they were thinking.
They weren't.
Apparently not. So he's getting beat up until the icons turn around and decide, hey, we'll fight with Takaru again. And because he believes in us hard enough that we can be stronger, and I guess we can be stronger now. So then starts the patented Sakamoto form change barrage. Because yes, this is a Sakamoto directed episode. So to the tune of the Ghost theme song, I think almost the full goddamn theme song, because this goes on for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I believe it was almost the entire theme song. And I believe we got 10 of the icons?
I think all of Takaru's proper icons. Because he didn't use Makoto's or Alan's.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't 100% on that.
Yeah. So more or less, Takaru goes through all of his icons in Ore, while also using the Sunglass Slasher in Ore, but I guess ignore it because this is a pretty good shot, like form change barrage, as he just dismantles Gyro and whatever goons he decided to show up with. And to finish off Gyro properly, he goes grateful, summons all the heroic icons, and then they do a 16-man rider kick straight into Jabel's jaw and put him down for the count. This is probably the best of the episode, to be honest.
Yep.
I also love that they went further into detail by having all of the heroic icons set up their rider kicks separate individually. They're all different, I think. They don't just do the same thing. They all do their own thing, which is a really nice attention to detail.
I don't think I paid attention to that part of it, actually.
Because I was watching it, and I think they all do the same. And weirdly enough, I think Himiko kind of does Haruto's setup for his rider kick. I think. She just kind of moves the cloak the same way that Haruto does when he does his rider kick. And I'm just like, I wonder if some of them do setups like other past riders. Just as a little, like...
surprise me, just to do it as a little nod.
Yeah, and especially since it's very obvious that they don't have the ability to put all 16 of these suits on screen at the same time, so they're all kind of green screened together. But anyway, 16-man rider kick, Gyro goes down. Jabel heads out to go explore the world and find himself, I guess. And that's the episode. And that's half our episodes. So how'd you feel about the second half of our two-parter that we left off on in this solo standalone episode?
It felt like a bunch of filler, truthfully.
Yeah, I'll be honest, yeah, it kind of does.
I mean, it could have been worse filler, but yeah, filler nevertheless.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think I popped for the end of the second episode, and that was about it. And I also popped for Igor getting the shit slapped out of him.
Oh man, who
That's
wouldn't?
Yeah, that's about the only things I cared about in these two episodes. Which really sets up for episode 39. Opposition, father and daughter. Okay. Don't mind me if I rant in like 5 minutes when I get to this plot point. Because this plot point makes me mad. So, we start off with Adele talking things out with one of the Genmisers. When Igor shows up to talk. And then Alia shows up and smacks the shit out of him and tells him to fuck off. Fuck off. I want to talk to him. Go away. She proceeds to more or less ask Adele what he wants. And since he more or less wants bad things, I didn't pay attention to the conversation at all. Because half of it is like movie-relevant info about Argos, who is the brother we didn't talk about till now. Who's the villain of the movie. If you're wondering why all of a sudden they're talking about a brother that they just now had, that's because they just now have a new brother. So, since Adele's got a heel turn, she's saying fuck this shit and wants him off the throne, and she goes Necrom Pink. By the way, we're going to get 3 more repaints of this suit in the movie. That's the entire reason she is Necrom Pink. How do you feel about Necrom Pink? Yeah, for those wondering what it is the blank, more or less heroic icon suit that the heroic icons have been using when they show up in character. With just the Ore Spectre parka in different colors for the trim, and then the Necrom faceplate in the respective colors. That's it. It's nothing else. It doesn't even use a repaint of Necrom's proper parka. So I don't know why this is called a Necrom suit. Because none of it is Necrom besides the helmet.
Reasons.
Yeah. So yeah, she proceeds to fight 2 of the Genmisers for a little bit before she's immediately chopped out by them. But apparently she kicked 2 of them hard enough that they fused together, and then they took the remnants of her icon when it shattered and she went off to respawn. That causes them to malfunction, or something. I don't fucking know, and I don't care. But they fuck off for the 2 episodes. By the way, do you think she'll return as Necrom Pink?
Maybe, but I'm willing to say probably not.
No, she doesn't. Guess what she does for the rest of the season?
Let me guess, sit locked in a room?
No, sit in a chair and in the cube like her father did, next to next to Adele for the rest of the season. And more or less just get to watch the rest of the show. That is her role for the rest of the show.
Sounds about on par.
She did not need to be Necrom Pink. She did not need to be a rider. If you're not going to fucking use her as a rider, do not make her a rider. We have clearly established that anyone can use these fucking Genma fucking icons. Why is she just not another Ultima or something? and use that and job it out.
Because
their
that would be too easy.
Because their appearance as Necron Pink is absolutely pointless and not even worth acknowledgement outside of, oh, hey, look, this happened. Fucking, what was her name? The girl who was one of the mages in Wizard. I can't think of her name at the moment. I want to say Mayu, but I don't think that's right.
I think that's right.
Okay. She did more in a minion suit that was related to the movie than fucking Alia ever did.
Yep.
So yeah. This sucks and I hate it. Which puts me in a bad mood for the rest of these 2 episodes, as you'll find out. So after all this, we cut over to Makoto, who's thinking about his whole clone situation that he's telling nobody about.
Because that's how you do this kind of thing.
Because why would he talk to anybody about this at all, whatsoever? Oh, there's randomly clones of me showing up. Alan, do you have any idea about this? Do you have any idea who could be doing this or how this can be accomplished? Since, you know, you're royalty. I'm sure you know things. Did you clone me without my consent? Anyway, Sage shows up and he's fucking useless. And I hate him.
What's new with Sage, though?
I know, but it's even more, like, absurd at this point of just how pointless he is. I'm just like, oh my god, shut up. Stop wasting screen time here. I don't even know. I don't think you're even being funny at this point. I just hate you, and I want you to go away. Go away. But the monks call the team away to the front gate because apparently a girl and her father are arguing. And more or less, the dad is a cop, and he's busy because he's a cop, but the daughter wants them to go to this viewing at a plaza to honor their mother, and that's the whole basis of the argument, and that's it. That's it. That's the entire thing for 2 episodes, that's their entire plot. So buckle in. Let's see how far we can stretch this out over 2 episodes.
Spoiler alert, it's pretty far.
Yeah. So this is when the Genmaiser, because they run off after arguing. This is when the Genmaiser shows up when the team doesn't notice. And also, Takaru can't sense this Genmaiser, even though he sensed the Genmaiser last episode, but whatever. Or no,
Yeah.
2 episodes ago. My bad. Fuck it. He ends up switching bodies, so the Genmaiser is in the daughter's body. The daughter is in the father's body, and then the father is in the Genmaiser's body. If my recap is going to sound confusing, that's because I gave up on trying to tell you who was who. And how to specify this, because I just didn't fucking care, because no one thinks this plot through for 5 seconds. It also doesn't help that this Genmaiser looks so fucking stupid in movement.
Yep.
Because I swear the suit actor is just crab walking around to make this Genmaiser suit move, and it's just like, oh god, this looks so stupid. Why aren't you just CG floating in the fucking air? I know it's more budget, but god, it would be better than this. But yeah, it's supposed to be a mystery about who swapped with what, and like I said, I didn't give a fuck. So I'm just telling you right now, the twist. Anyway, they find the daughter in the father's body, and they try to help her out through all of her problems. And this is when Billy the Kid decides to possess Ganon for, like, no reason. And just is like, hey, police are alright! Says the outlaw of the Old West, who was also killed by a sheriff. Billy, are you sure about that? Billy, we need to have a cop. What? What do you mean you're okay with cops? I know this is a kid's show and all, and maybe we should not have one of the main heroic icons be not okay with cops, but I think that goes against your character, historically speaking. I'm sorry. Excuse me? And I think he says later that he was best buddies with the sheriff that did kill him, and I'm like, I don't think that's historically accurate, to be honest.
Probably not, but I honestly don't know.
From what I remember of Old West history, no. Extremely not. But I could be wrong. I don't know. At this point, I don't care. Anyway, the gang splits up into groups. They go try to find the daughter's body. And that goes nowhere fast. But at this point, Makoto ends up giving a bit of backstory about how his dad left both him and Kanon alone. And how he considers Ryu his father instead of his actual father.
I do kind of really. One thing I'm gonna say is there's a point at this arc where I go from being slightly annoyed with Sage to utterly hating him.
Is it the part where he's giving needed information for the movie?
Not directly, because it's still actually for show.
Okay. Alright.
It has something to do with not just the reason that you've mentioned, but yet another reason that kind of parallels Makoto and Takaru.
Okay. But anywho, at this point, some guy shows up and talks to the daughter vaguely about shit. And when you're alone, you talk vaguely about the things you're needing to do, right? Right? That's how that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a sketchy, more or less, this looks like a guy from a Yakuza game, so make of that what you will. So then the father's partner shows up, and then they talk about crime stuff involving some big crime guy that apparently keeps getting away, and then the father thought there was a leak in the police force. Because that's the rest of the crime plot for the rest of the episode. So after the partner leaves and Takaru catches up with the daughter, they didn't spot the daughter's body with the Genmaiser in it, and it walks by. Only for the Genmaiser to show up, trying to protect his daughter. And then there's a misunderstanding, and Takaru tries to fight it, and then it runs away when Igor and his goon show up. And then Makoto shows up, and he shoots them, and then they leave, because they don't want to be jobbed out yet. It's more or less a progression of not fight scenes for a little bit. That makes me annoyed. I also want to note that the Genmaiser with the dad in it is not actually trying to fight Takaru at all, which is against how the Genmaisers have acted at every single point until now.
Well, and also the thing that should have tipped them off is it didn't look at Takaru and say, new objective confirmed, eliminate. I mean... exterminate. Yeah, it didn't do that, which I'm just like... That's how every one of them has immediately seen him and go, must kill. It's like, maybe something's different this time.
Yeah, I don't know why no one is not thinking, wait a minute, this Genmaiser is acting strange. Is this Genmaiser acting strange? This Genmaiser is acting strange. Maybe we should try to figure this out. Maybe this is involved in this somehow. So anyway, we find that the daughter confused about all this, and then she gets a phone call from a restricted number that is the guy from earlier, and he's off to a meeting that they set up somehow, or like him and the dad did, and he's off to do it. But when they try to catch up to him, they find him knocked out, and then the other cop shows up, and he thinks that the dad did it because the dad is apparently a crooked cop, according to the partner. But the gang's just like, no, he didn't. We were with him the entire time. What are you talking about? What nonsense do you speak of? Which makes me think, like, wait, why do they think the father did this then? Where did you think the father was involved in this?
Yep.
So I think that's when this whole mystery breaks down of just like, wait, you're trying to blame the father for something he can't possibly do because we've been with him the entire day. Anyway, well, the team tries to sort things out. The Genmiser shows up now. And then the riders have to fight it for a little bit. Except now Igor shows up with his 2 goons for their scheduled jobbing session. Because when the Genmiser leaves after Takaru punches him hard enough, they more or less job out Igor and his crew with some heroic icon help. So they all 3 get blown up, including Igor. He gets properly blown up for once. And then we end the proper episode with the daughter deciding that her dad's a bad guy and she's gonna go expose his crimes. Which I have to go, what crimes? What crimes? What do you mean? Show, I think you've lost the plot somewhere. That or I am too, but I don't have enough shits to give to follow this plot at this point.
Yes. Just all around, yes.
Yeah. But that's not the technical end of the episode, because we have 1 of 4 episodes leading into the movie now. So it's movie episode 1, where we see Argos, who is Alan's other brother who died of illness at a young age, but he's off in Icon World, gathering icons for ultimate power. And he acquires the Napoleon icon, and he puts it with the rest of the Gamba Rising and Televikun special icons that have proper labels. Which is like Columbus, Nightingale, Pythagoras, somebody else. I don't know if Santa's there or not, because I know Santa is an icon in Ghost. They did release the Santa icon, but I don't think it's actually there. Because I guess Santa Claus is not considered a heroic icon. So yeah, that's the end of the episode, which takes us to episode 40! We check in with Alia, who wakes up to goons, and she's immediately captured, and she's gonna spend the rest of the episode sitting in a chair, watching Adele do his plans and stuff. So, more or less, she gets to do what her father did for 2 episodes, except she doesn't die. Which I guess is a plus. At this point, we see that the Genmiser is the daughter, or is in the daughter's body. Or no, we know... Okay, my bad. The dad is in the Genmiser, and he's out to take down his partner, because, spoilers, his partner is the crooked cop doing crime. And then the actual Genmiser is in the daughter, and then Igor's just watching all this because Igor's got nothing better to do since he went back to respawn. We check in with the team, trying to track down the daughter again. That fails. And the daughter heads out to try to, like, go expose crime. This is where Makoto's being like, oh, not all dads are good. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how you'll feel about Makoto's dad when we get to him in the movie. Spoilers, he's in the movie. It's why we keep bringing up Makoto's dad, even though we've never brought him up before until now.
And I believe it's this scene too that is when both Takaru and Alan say about how their dad's dead.
Yeah.
And we have the cut over to Sage saying that, you know, yeah, the reason why Makoto's dad never came back is he's dead.
Except, okay, no, he's technically right because Makoto's dad is dead. He's dead in the same way Takaru's dead.
This is the point where I went from being slightly agitated with Sage to just really hating him now. Because it's like, really, you couldn't have said this to him?
Thanks, Sage. By the way, he knows who killed him, too. Guess who killed him?
Sage?
No.
Oh.
It was the Gamma Ultima. Guess who's been Gamma Ultimas that are named characters? It's Adele, folks. Because, by the way, Sage is a Genma Ultima, but he's a black one instead of a white one. We'll find that out next week. I'm just gonna spoil it now. Because I don't give a shit about Sage.
All I can say is I hope he explodes really big.
So do I. So yeah, that happens. Team splits up once more, trying to find his daughter body. And this is when the partner gets written on the whole situation. And he's kind of acting suspicious because guess what? He did crime. This is when Takaru pep talks the daughter into believing in his dad. And he glows again. So, more glowing from Takaru with no explanation. Does anyone else see this besides Akari? I think she's the only one that sees this.
She's the only one that's commented about it, but I think there was one episode where her and Onari both acknowledged it.
Okay.
But outside of like the core group, I don't think anyone else has ever noticed it, so I don't know if it might just be something that only they can see.
Yeah. Anyway, we check in with the partner who finds the daughter's body, but he's met by the Genmiser instead of her. And he gets blasted back. And that's going to be really dumb in about 5 seconds. Because I think he also more or less confesses to being the crooked cop at this point, so that just blows the whole mystery out of the water. Unless I'm wrong. I don't remember this part with his... okay, good.
It's not until the bodies go back to normal.
Okay. I thought he said something to make him seem like the crooked cop in this situation.
No, I think, though, we've pretty much figured it out at this point. If you've ever watched any kind of a cop movie.
Yeah.
Just
anyway,
saying.
at this point, at this point, Takaru and gang show up, and then Takaru gets blasted away by the daughter, mind you, and they clearly see that it's the daughter that blasts him away, but then the Genmiser shows up. And they attack the Genmiser. Specifically, Takaru and Makoto attacked the Genmiser after the daughter hit him away with a psychic blast that they clearly saw was coming from her.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And to be fair, if Takaru had been, I don't know, about 5 seconds earlier, he would have heard the kill, kill, kill.
Yeah. But at this point, the daughter, being apparently the smartest person in the cast today, realizes that her dad is in the Genmiser and tries to make everybody stop. But that doesn't stop Takaru from apparently getting the right shot on the Genmiser to make him activate the body switching parts. Or the soul switching things, and everybody goes back into their proper bodies. By the way, we still have 13 minutes left in this episode. We're only halfway done. How? How is this only halfway done?
Now, okay. I get we had some stuff to set up.
Yes.
But could we not have been at this point, I don't know, by the end of last episode? And then just use this as mop up the problem? To, put in an actual fight scene?
Yeah.
Because we never have one.
Yeah. Anyway, at this point, I think the Genmiser runs away. And then the partner runs away. And then the dad has to go off to arrest his partner. And the team more or less has to stand there and explain the mystery to the audience between themselves. Like, oh my god, shut up and move on, please. We get it! Thank you for explaining the mystery to everyone who didn't, pay attention, I guess.
I just thought of something.
What?
They super missed their shot at this. Because If I'm remembering correctly, this Ganmizer's actually two that kind of bug together.
Yeah, it is.
This would be the perfect time to, smack Takaru down in Mugen to make him then overcome it.
Yeah. Except no, we can't do that.
Because, the writing's so good in Ghost.
Yeah.
I'm being so sarcastic with that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the dad catches up to the partner, and then the team catch up with him, and then more or less the partner confesses to being crooked cop and doing crime. But then the Genmiser has to show up, takes the dad, and runs, and the writers have to transform and go after him. So then we get a fight scene with them and this awkward-looking monster that they more or less have to fight around. And it looks so bad. It looks like you could kick this thing once and it can't get up.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to neutralize the Genma's gimmicks, which I think is like magnetism and something else. I don't remember. All I know is like Billy, Musashi, and Houdini get summoned with Grateful to neutralize it, and then Takaru goes Mugen and blows it up, and then we're done. Because the partner gets arrested, the family's better now. I guess they're gonna have to go do the viewing for the mom. Also, at the end of the episode, we show that Makoto's dad is a writer because he's Zero Spectre. Which, by the way, as revealed in the Ghost novel, apparently, part of his dad's soul is in the Spectre icon. Or part of Makoto's dad's soul is in the Spectre icon.
So, the Spectre icon is like Boost?
Yes. I guess. I assume. I don't know. This is novel information with no context. This is the same novel that apparently Ryu was also a writer and he is Zero Ghost. That apparently looks a whole lot like Boost.
I mean, at least that makes sense.
And also, Movie Tyson Genesis was just an alternate timeline. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we get movie episode 2 now, which is more or less Argos was tasked by Sage to collect icons, and Makoto's dad was supposed to help him. But apparently things have went off the rail because Sage consents them, so he's now scrambling to figure out Plan B now. Because apparently Argos is going to make that icon, which is just, hey, what if we did Grateful but times, like, I don't know, like 6-ish. Because there's a reason there's 100 icons in the movie. Can you guess what the bad guy's final form's going to be? So that's these 2 episodes. How'd you feel about them? Yeah, that sounds about right. I didn't care. I was out like some part of the way in the 39, and I was just like done through most of 40. I'm just like, fuck, I want to move on. God damn it, I need to move on. Can we go into better territory? Even though I know where the show goes in parts, and I'm just like, oh, right, we still haven't dealt with those things I know about. Fuck. But yeah, we get more Ghost episodes next week because we're not doing the 100 icons just yet. So we get 2 episodes, and then we'll go deal with, or then we'll get the 2 of the episodes, and then the 2 episodes after the movie, and then we'll go watch the movie. Because timing. You got any other thoughts?
No.
Alright, kind of the same week this week. Ace Attorney 3, Breath of the Wild, maybe the end of Wind Waker.
At least for me.
Yeah. Whatever is to come on Saturday. And then the next 4 episodes of Ghost. Oh, God. I'm remembering why I stopped. I fell off.
Nope.
Is it not?
It's not the next 4 episodes.
Is it the next 5 episodes?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, fucking hell. Why? Oh, goody. It's 5 episodes. Oh, joy.
Yep. Yep.
Ghost, why are you 50 episodes? Why can't you be just 49 episodes? Or 48 episodes?
Or 40 episodes.
Yeah,
We'll
cut
just
this down.
end it now.
Just cut it way down.
God.
I'm trying to think what all is in these fucking episodes.
All the Ganmizers going boom.
Probably.
Because I feel like this is going to be like fireworks. They're just going to go in rapid succession to be done.
Oh my god, give me the proper episodes, for fuck's sakes. Let's get me past the movie. That image tells me nothing. Oh, we might finally get to whatever the fuck the Demia project's about.
And by that you mean we probably won't. Good to know.
Maybe, I honestly don't remember. It looks like we will. Why is Copy Makoto considered one character when he's several? Also, why is his name Copy Makoto instead of Makoto? I am disappointed in you, Wiki.
Yep, me too.
So we have 5 episodes next week, folks. Yay. Anyway, if you like what you've seen, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that follower goal. At Saloon on Twitter for updates when we go live. And exclamation point Discord and chat. Get to the Discord link. Drop by. Say hi. We got a Dropbox for questions. Drop us a question. We'll answer it. Anyway, that'll do it for me. For Tommy. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.